Hi guys, happy Vyshyvanka Day! My name is Tatiana and this is my Flosstube Extra where I want to talk about Vyshyvanka. I talk all the time about Vyshyvanka, but today is a special day because today we celebrate in Ukraine. We celebrate a day of embroidery shirt. For us Ukrainians, Vyshyvanka is a very important cultural heritage. As you can see. So I'm starting this video a little bit early, a few days before the official Vyshyvanka Day, which is usually take place on the third Thursday of May every year. But I'm doing it because I want to make this video in time for the celebration. How I want to celebrate this important day is to start a new Vyshyvanka. Isn't it the best way to celebrate the Vyshyvanka Day, right? What I'm going to talk today is I will give you a brief overview of what is Vyshyvanka, what is embroidered shirt day in Ukraine. Then I will talk about inspiration for the Parten for my new Vyshyvanka, which I'm creating myself. The Parten I'm creating myself. Then I will talk through the sewing Parten that I bought, because this Vyshyvanka gonna be a modern style Vyshyvanka, and I just bought a modern style short Parten. That's it. I will talk through my experience of buying sewing pattern online. Then I will show you how I start with Vyshyvanka. What are the steps? And then at the end, I want to share with you three basic stitches that I will use in this Vyshyvanka. So it's not a cross stitch. It's embroidery, but very, very simple, very three basic type of stitches that I'm going to use. So I'm going to talk through those stitches and show you how to do them. I invite you to join the wonderful experience of starting a new embroidery shirt. So about the Vyshyvanka Day. For us Ukrainians, Vyshyvanka makes a tremendous part of our culture. Tremendous. And the further we go, the more important it becomes. Because it's not just the clothes. Historically, when stitches were doing Vyshyvanka, they were stitching in code. That's why now oftentimes we say that Vyshyvanka is our genetic code. It really was used as a code because many patterns that Vyshyvanka includes, they had meaning behind them. They have symbolism that stitchers were stitching into these clothes. Historically, when Vyshyvanka was stitched, it was stitched for a particular person, in mind. It wasn't just made, for sale or something. No, it was created for a particular person. So the stitcher, when she was making this Vyshyvanka, she would stitch in particular codes, particular symbolism, depending upon what purpose this Vyshyvanka going to serve. Or it's going to serve to protect, or it always protects, or it's going to serve for a brighter future, happier future, and all those energies were stitched in and in a particular symbolism. Also, there are different patterns that would say the name of the person, or if this a girl, if she married or no, and there are many parts. Modern Vyshyvanka not often are made like that. Recently, we are more looking for the beautiful pattern rather than the symbolism. But what remains stable is that we stitch our energy in our Vyshyvanka for the better future. And to protect the person that we stitched it for. So the Vyshyvanka Day is when almost everybody in Ukraine wears their Vyshyvanka. Morning, we put on our Vyshyvanka, we step out, and you can see about like 70% of people outside on the streets are wearing Vyshyvanka. Can you imagine? Can you imagine when like almost everybody just wearing the man, woman, children, kids, even little babies in their stores, they're wearing Vyshyvanka. It's a beautiful day. Not only we wear Vyshyvanka on Vyshyvanka Day, but many people just take it to their to work, to I don't know, some particular conference, or when you need to be really beautiful, you wear your Vyshyvanka. It's like our day out outlook. It is said that Ivan Franko, important historical figure in Ukraine, he is said to be the first one to wear the Vyshyvanka, the traditional embroidered shirt, under the formal jacket. And he is even pictured like that on our Ukrainian money banknote, on one of our Ukrainian banknotes. And now men do that quite often in their job. You can see, oftentimes you can see men wearing Vyshyvanka out underneath their formal jacket for work, for every day, which is really beautiful. Vyshyvanka Day is quite a recent creation. I think it has less than 20 years of tradition for this day, and but it already feels like it's been all the time, because it's so natural for us just to wear embroidered shirt. I want to start Malyovanka today. As far as I know, Malyovanka doesn't have any district. It was common in all Ukraine. It's just a particular style of Vyshyvanka, very bright, very colorful. I've never stitched. I don't have Vyshyvanka like that, so I thought I'm gonna make my one for myself. So I want to create this pattern myself, just free-handed, draw it like that. But I want to use traditional elements from Malyovanka that exist in other historical Vyshyvanka, but also I want to incorporate elements of Ornek. Ornek is a traditional pattern of Crimean Tatarians. I'm from Crimea, and this is a peninsula on the very south of Ukraine. And Crimean Tatarians are indigenous population of Crimea. They had difficult times in their history because of the neighbor we have, and their cultural heritage is very rich, but unfortunately much of it is lost to the historical events that happened over the last century and keep happening. So in 2021, UNESCO, this international organization for culture and science, they officially registered Ornek as a cultural heritage, and it's a big event for Crimean Tatarians, because it defines their culture as a rich culture that wars maybe wrong word, that need to be preserved and need to be developed because it's a beautiful culture. So Ornek is a traditional pattern that we use to decorate many everyday pieces, like clothes, like ceramics, like walls, and so on and so forth. And I want to use those elements and incorporate them together in my Vyshyvanka to make this embroidered shirt really special, and preserving the diverse combination of culture that I have as a person, because I grew up as Ukrainian in Crimea, and in this Vyshyvanka, I want to unite all that experience that I have and make it in a beautiful piece, in a beautiful garment to wear. As for my sewing pattern, I decided to make it not traditional, but the modern version. So I went online and I was looking for a shirt, a blouse pattern to sew, and I found such website called Likala. I will link it down below. They have a lot of different patterns for different garments to stitch, and I bought a pattern for the blouse, and the number is, I will link down, or maybe I will put on the screen. Then it's model number 2352. And it was quite an interesting experience using this website, because you can buy the standard size, like medium, large, extra large, and so on, or you can insert your own measurements. So that's what I did. I measured myself. I put in my measurements, and I ordered a pattern like that. It took, it was really cheap, like, I don't know, few euros, this pattern cost. And it took maybe 5-10 minutes for them to process. They say our software processing your sizes. And then they send you already pattern ready and measured for your sizes. So I didn't need to do any calculations. I didn't need to position and draw anything. No, they just sent you a PDF. They sent me a PDF file with already the pattern made for me, which is really nice and very convenient. Then the important step was to print this pattern, because it's in EU defines the paper size, or it's letter size. So I ordered A4 because my printer is, I'm in Europe, so we have A4 here, paper size. And it arrives like that. So all these pages, all the pattern is divided in pages, and there is schematic position how you need to then put together your patterns. And I already start putting it together. So after printing, I start putting it together, and this is already the sleeve made that I will need to cut out. And basically, it's quite simple. The only thing that I want to pay your attention to, on the last page of the pattern, there's a square. And this is a square that should be 10 by 10 centimeters when you print it. So it's like to check your scaling. And it took me several attempts to get this square 10 by 10 centimeters, because when I printed, my printer was adjusting measurements and making it to fit to the scale, but no. To print correctly this pattern, which arrives, I needed to make original size of the pattern of the PDF file without any adjustments. In such a way, I got so I measured the square, it's 10 by 10 centimeters. That means the whole rest of the pattern is right to scale to my measurements. I hope you're following me. So if you want to stitch, to sew any pattern like that, I think it's a great source for, well, first let's see how it turns out, because it's my first time using this website, but so far I found it very convenient and very nice. So while I will be doing the rest of the pattern, of course, I will show you some of the process, maybe not all, because it could take some time. Then about my fabric. So remember I said about 1,000 times that I'm not going to use uneven fabric anymore for stitching. Here we go again. Because I'm now in Italy and I don't have an opportunity, as if in Ukraine, to go to store and buy and choose from not thousand, but from many options to choose a fabric for Vyshyvanka, because we do have in Ukraine such type of shops. I'm in Italy, so I'm limited with my fabric resources for Vyshyvanka, but I found this beautiful linen in just local shop. It's uneven, but it's very beautiful, and I think it's the right size and drape to stitch the pattern I want on this linen. And at the end, which is also important, I'm going to show you 3 type of stitches for this Vyshyvanka. So if you want to stitch your own Vyshyvanka, or just make some little beautiful personalization touch to the blouse you already have, you can totally do it with these simple stitches. Or a cross stitch, you can always use a cross stitch. Like I feel responsible for popularization of Vyshyvanka among in the world outside of Ukraine, because I do believe that it's a beautiful garment that you can wear every day, and it doesn't look, too traditional. I mean, like too folk. It conserves the traditional aspect, but it still looks very modern and very stylish. And I do believe wearing Vyshyvanka on everyday basis is a beautiful thing. So I highly encourage you, okay, maybe not stitching the Vyshyvanka like this, like very traditional, but incorporate some embroidery elements into blouses you wear every day. It's a beautiful thing. So I hope with this example, I will inspire you to maybe make your own Vyshyvanka. Okay, let's get started. So here I cut out my pieces. So first, of course, I glue them together according to this line, and then I cut out pieces. So this is going to be the lower front, this is going to be the top front, and it says here how many pieces I need to cut out from my fabric. Here gonna be my color that I'm gonna do the very last step will be this part, because I have history with making wrong colors. This is gonna be sleeve, I believe, like this. And it won't be me if I don't change the pattern as usual. It's just my style, how I rock. So this was 2 pieces. This is the sleeve. And it was in 3 pieces. I united those 2 because I want the whole surface to stitch on. Here will be, that's going to be the top part of the sleeve, and I will stitch on it. So I glue it together. And also for the main part of the sleeve, that's going to be the lower part of the sleeve, I inserted 5 centimeters in the middle to make it wider. And I also added 3 centimeters on the bottom to make it longer, because this part, you see, like this volume part, I need more volume on it because I want it to be fluffy. Yeah, so that's my changes. Is the back side. I already cut it out,
And you see the pattern comes without seam allowance. So I added 2 centimeters around half inch around the side where I will have seam allowance. So here no, because it says fold and it's a single piece, even though I have 2 layers of fabric, but they will make the single piece of my bag. So now I attached with this temporarily needles, and I want to stitch around. So now I'm gonna do a temporary line. On entire piece. And then I can take off my paper because I don't want needles to stay for a long time in my white linen. It can go rusty. I already had such problem with my other Vyshyvanka, where I left the hoop for a long time and it had the metal edge. Done. Yeah, on back there won't be any stitching. So this just goes waits for the sewing part. Here I cut out my sleeves, and because that would be the part that I work most with, I just zigzag around so they don't, the fabric doesn't go apart. And I have my 2 sides. They're mirror images, and I mark it in this top left corner. I mark with a cross. This means one sleeve, the second sleeve. I still need to figure out which one is left, which one is right. But that later task I'm gonna perform. And this is the main part of the sleeve. I left much larger seam allowance just because I'm gonna embroider it and I need, edges to put it in a hoop. So my stitching will be here. And here is a very rough sketch of my Parten. As I go, I finalize my Parten with a darker pen. So this Parten is not finalized yet. I will start slowly. I will do like bit by bit to see how it all goes together because I created this pattern myself and I need to test it. Traditional classical elements that I have here is the middle part, which is very common in Orneks. Then I have traditional to Malyovanka flowers, and those flowers that watch down, they symbolize ancestors that passed away. And flowers that go up symbolize people living. So it's also like a tree of life building from the middle root part. Of course, I will have grape because I'm from Crimea and we have a lot of wine production there. I will have sunflowers, of course, main flower of Ukraine, and I will have other elements from Ornek as well. Or maybe before we go to stitching, I will show you my process of picking up colors. So I transferred this Parten with a water-soluble marker. I transferred this Parten on my fabric, and I started picking up colors. So I have this sample set of DMC floss that I use when I creating the Parten, and I also have another set of master set of my DMC colors from which I stitch. So Here I have one less of thread for each color, and they all organized in numerical order. And when I want to create pattern, for example, I want green, I pulled out all greens I have. It's not a complete DMC list. I still working on having the full collection. So here I pulled out all the green. I put it together and I see if I like it. So I don't like this combination of green. So of course I didn't use it. And in such a way I was combining, and when I picked several colors, I line them together and see if I like the combination. In such a way, I picked my colors. And I start my stitching, which I need to unpick. All of this part need to be unpicked. This flower also was stitched and I already unpicked it. I started here using 2 strands of black floss and I was stitching here. For my colors, I used 3 threads. And it was quite nice. You know, I stitched these. Here I picked up the wrong color. And then, you know, I was watching photos online once again. And other stitchers in Ukraine that stitch this pattern, they have more like pronounced, like here, more pronounced, more bold, more dense stitching. And I was like, my stitching is a little, you know, you can see those edges, and I didn't really like it. So here was 3 threads. Then I tried 4 threads, and I was still not convinced. And then I tried 6/4. So here are 6/4 of DMC taken together, and I like it. So this part stays. This is already the one that's gonna be. Here, all I need to unpick. Before unpicking that, before, you know, struggling, I will show you how 3 stitches that I promised you to show. Here is my master set of DMC, and I will do a video about this organization that I have, because I wanted to change a little bit, and it would be a good time to show you how I organize my floss. I will have a separate video, but a little bit later, because now I have too much. Okay, so that's my black 310, and for the black stitching I use 4 threads. Here we go. So the first stitch I want to show you is a stem stitch, which I use for outlining my my pattern. So this all is stem stitch. This also, and I do a loop method start, and basically stem stitch is inside out back stitch. You see from back side, it's just a back stitch, as if we're back stitching, but we use as our front side the back side of back stitch, if it makes sense. But it's called stem stitch, and I'm gonna show you how it's made. So I follow my line that I drew from previous stitch, and the first one is a little unusual, but I'm gonna start explaining from the furthers. Okay, so what I do, I make a stitch at about 4 fabric. My count is about 32 count linen, and it's not as uneven as I thought first. It's almost even. So I do about 4 linen flosses step. But before pulling the stitch down, I come back from the previous stitch like this. After that, I pull it tight. Then I have my floss always on the same side. I do about 4, come back, and I make sure that my floss each time is on the same size of my needle. So here I choose it to be on the right side, and I always keep it, you see, on the right side. Here is my stem stitch. And another one. Come back and pull my floss on this right side of the needle. And like that, just continue around. Here how it looks from front, and here how it looks from the back. It's a back stitch. Basic. Disregard, please, my poor embroidery skills. So I will keep outlining. So here was a stem stitch, and I outlined my figure here. And then for branches, for my flowers and other elements, I use chain stitch. So this chain stitch that it needs to be unpicked is done with 2 DMC threads, and this one is done with 4. And I decided to do it with 4 to make it more bold appearance. So now I'm going to show you the chain stitch. So I finished it here, and I traveled my floss back to this point. So I start from the very beginning of my line, and I come back in the very same spot where my floss came out, just like that. But before pulling it down, of course, because it just will go back, I do a step of, again, about 4, maybe here 5 linen threads, and I came out with my needle. When I pull my thread, I make sure that my working thread goes around the thread I'm pulling. You see? I just making a loop around my floss. Then I repeat the same movement. I come back to the place where I just came out with my needle. And before pulling it completely, I do my next stitch. Another 4 or 5 linen threads. And I pull out my needle. And a loop forms around. And like that. That's it. That's all it takes to do a chain stitch. Nothing crazy here. Just a simple embroidery. And again, I follow my line that I drew on fabric. Just like this. And you see, with this stitching, you don't need any sophisticated pattern. You can just draw free-handed any pattern you want. You don't need any software or any particular skills. You just outline it like that and create a beautiful embroidery. Just like that. I like the simplicity of these stitches. They're like cross stitch. You don't need really to think. You just repeat the same movement, and it gives me a good sense of relaxation. You see? And from the back side, it looks like this. Very simple, very nice. One little thing with chain stitch, when I come to the end of my line, to fix this last loop, I don't go at the same in the same spot as I would do another loop. I go right outside it. So I'm attaching this loop to fabric, and in this way it fixed to the fabric. That's how I finish my chain. This Vyshyvanka will take a lot of floss, a lot. I will need to restock my colors for this. So for green I use 3345, the color, and I use 6 threads, and I want to show you how to stitch. Well, I'm not sure I found the right English equivalent for this, for the name for this stitch. We call it kolodочки, which means a kind of bricks, I think. It's a long or a lace stitch, whatever you want to call it, just made in a particular bricks. And I show you how. So I will start from bottom left corner of my of the surface I need to fill with this stitch. And I do a loop method start again. From the back, I just pick up some nearest flosses and I loop start. Now I come back to my front, and this one brick is 3 by 6 size, so 6 linen floss in horizontal and 3 linen floss in vertical. To start, I basically pick up a random spot and next to the edge. And here sides are a little bit different because I won't fit the whole brick in here. So I do it smaller. I will start with this and I will explain you later because I want to start explanation with the regular brick. And then I will come back on how I do edges. So I will walk in diagonals. And I will explain you in a little bit how I did this diagonal because it's a little unusual. But now I will show you the basic stitch. So I need to build a brick, which will be 3 by 6. So as you can see, bricks are not lying on top of each other. They're a little bit, they're halfway on the side. So I count 3 because my brick is 6 in horizontal. I count 3 to the side. And I do, here are my 6 linen threads. And I do a first line of my brick. Then I come back here to do my second one. And again, 6 linen flosses, 6 linen threads, and I come back and another 6. So I made it 3 times, 3 horizontal lines across 6 linen threads. And I do 3 to the side, 3 linen threads to the side to start the next brick. And I do the next brick in this diagonal orientation. Another 3 threads to build the next brick. like that. And I keep going in diagonal. Another 3 to the side, 1 step down, to start the next line. And like that, laying down my bricks. See, here I came to the edge, and I won't be able to fit another full brick on this edge. So what I will do, I will just cut my brick to the size that fits the space. That's it. Nothing really sophisticated. So I come all the way to the edge. So I don't have any gaps between my black outline and my colorful stitching inside. Yeah, in the edges it becomes a little tight, but still doable. So this diagonal is finished, and now I come back and do the next diagonal right next to it. Here I won't fit my entire brick, so I just cover this space as if I try to fit a brick. I just cut the sizes, but I keep the brick shape. So if it's 3 in vertical, 3 lines in vertical, I keep it 3 lines in vertical. So my pattern is not disrupted. Yeah. So I fitted a part of the brick inside. Next line, same. I won't be able to fit the whole brick. I just fit whatever fits. You can see you can outline any shape you want, pick any color you want, and just stitch. So beautiful. So here I go in the middle of next brick as well, 1. So I take 3 threads from left brick, 3 threads from right brick, and as you can see, I will have a gap, then I fill with like partial brick. And I come back to fill this gap. Yeah, how it works. So we'll keep working on it. I will unpick those. And of course, in my future Flosstubes, I will share with you progress on this Vyshyvanka. And maybe I will talk more about each element, because each element has a big, deep meaning behind it, as of my color choices and such. So here's my future Vyshyvanka. That's how my start go, a little hectic. But one day it will be a beautiful, colorful, very cheerful Vyshyvanka. So that will be a sleeve. Thank you so much, guys, for celebrating the Vyshyvanka Day with me. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed starting a new Malyovanka with me, and I will share with you my progress on it and my other projects in future videos. Bye, happy stitching.